Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine, and this is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid Mohidin. This is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. I'm going to be previewing the CSA T20 Challenge. Now, what I'm going to enjoy talking to you about is obviously every single team, every single breakdown, every single squad, and talk to you guys about each and every one of them. Now, obviously, we have Werner Erasmus that has been very courteous to us by giving his 11s. So we're going to obviously try and dissect them and talk about each and every one of them, which will be very interesting to obviously do. But I'm also going to be showing you guys as well each and individual squad, and we'll talk through each squad. So I'll get the panel on. They only got about 30 minutes, the panel, so I'll talk to you guys afterwards. But we're going to get them on straight away, and then we're going to chat about each individual squad. I've uploaded all of them, so we've got a graphic for each and every one of them. We'll obviously start with Mpo's favorite side, because I know that's the one that he's going to talk about the most. But before we get going, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click that notification bell for all future videos, and also smash a like button. I'm gonna turn on the super chat right now for you guys, so that you guys can obviously get involved with the super chat, because remember, this panel is going to be so hectic. It's going to be so difficult for us to be able to get through all of the comments, especially when we're dissecting every single side. So get involved with the super chat so we can get your comments read. So without further ado, here's Mpo, and without further ado, here's Bye. And I don't know where Aditya is, if he is going to be joining us as well, but we're going to be chatting to him maybe a little later too. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you guys doing, first and foremost?
I'm good. How are you doing?
No, I'm good. Tired. I went for a little net session today. I decided, like, look at Emily's trying to get ready for the club season. So I didn't have much to do today. After Faf retired, he obviously took up my whole morning. So I thought maybe just escape. And then she said, "Okay, cool. Let's meet up at the net." So we met up in Pinelands and we had a little net session. So I'm sore everywhere. I don't know if it was a good decision or it's a bad decision quite yet. It's definitely something that we want to do again, probably, because it was excellent. But yeah, to anybody out there that's listening up, yeah, you should get active now and start playing a little bit of cricket if you can, if it's allowed. I'm not sure if it's allowed in every single section, but certain places, if you just keep the protocols and you keep safe, everything will be okay. Let's go into the squads. I've got all of them uploaded. First and foremost, I'm going to ask you guys to please mute your mics, of course, until you want to speak. And then obviously we can get going. We've got Lubabalu on the show as well. I hope that he's not lagging too much, because we really want to get his input tonight on this show. Always nice to hear. Welcome to the show, Lubabalu. Really great. No, there was no. It was a straight-on salute, so I'm happy when I see that.
It's finally here.
There was no staggering salute, so good to see that. So let's get going. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Lions first and foremost. I've got the graphic for us right now. Put it up on the screen. We've got the full squad available for you over here. Very interesting squad, very balanced side, a lot of Proteas players. So it's I know Mpo is very happy about this one, because we're gonna have to pick from this squad. Now you need to remember, obviously, transformation targets, etc. Now Mpo doesn't worry about that; he always picks right. So there's not really much.
No, it's not issue. That. It's just that the Lions, they don't worry about it, because look at the side. Look at the side. You're picking the best of the best.
Best of the best. Okay, so he's under the impression that the Lions are going to run away with this tournament.
No, I'm not saying they're going to run away with it. All I'm saying is that you look at the side and you tell me if there's another one that can match it.
Okay, so we're going to look at this one. So we've got this squad. I think everybody knows everybody. Let's have a quick look, guys, so that you can all look at it, because then we can go into maybe selecting the squad based on what Werner has put in the comment section. So you guys all have a look. You remember all the guys. Abai is good. Just give me a nod. Lubabalu, I know he has it there on the paper there beside him, probably. You know, he always comes prepared. So so let's get back into it. Werner started. Did you start with the Lions?
He did.
He
at
did.
the top.
Okay, cool. So here we go. He has gone with Hendricks, Rickleton, Bavuma, Rassi, Mulder, Potgieter, Pretorius, Magala, Rabada, Pangiso, and Hendricks. He said maybe Sapamla for Hendricks. That would be the one switch for me. I would play Sipamla because he Proteus, colors, and everything. But Hendricks has a left arm, played in the MSL as well. So that's also another big option as well. I just want to look at the transformation targets if he's met everything over there with his side.
Come on.
1,
Come
2,
on.
3. Now let's checking here quickly.
It's the Lions.
Hendricks.
It's the
Like, come on. Look,
It's the Lions.
Yeah, so everything's good over there. Very exciting side. I think the most exciting thing for me about this Simpo is that middle order: Potgieter, Pretorius, and Mulder. All rounders, all bowling options, all batsmen. Brilliant from my point of view. Personally, I also think Potgieter is actually a better batsman than Mulder. Personally, that's what I believe. If I look, according to the stats, it is so. But the way I watch Potgieter, the way he's at the crease, he just looks a lot more solid to me. I don't know how Lubabalo thinks about that. But what are your thoughts on the initial thoughts on the side, guys?
I think because we're playing in Durban and I want to go in this thing with South Africa that you must always try and play with two spinners, two out-and-out spinners. Bjorn Hendricks will probably sit out for me and I'd play Bjorn Fortuin as well. So that would mean you've got Hendricks, Sapamla, Haasbroek on the bench. And who's the last player? Essentially that's how I would go into this. So for especially because we're playing in Durban, you might need a second spinner, and you can't just go all pace. But yeah, I'm happy with this. I love the middle order. I do feel this is what I love about Van Mulder. It's his moment to prove that he can bat as a number 5 in a limited over side. Because if he can finish or get you a couple of 30 not outs. At a strike rate of about 120, 130, maybe even 140 on the back end of the game, he could make a claim for that number 5 batsman for the Proteas in the future, and that's what I'm looking for. But name me a better side in this tournament outside of this one. But the reason why I love it is because Sisanda Magala, I think, is probably the best closer in T20 cricket from a fast bowling perspective, and I love him that he's in there. And he's got a chip on his shoulder to prove. And then you've given Temba, Mulder, Potgieter, and Pretorius to kind of cover out the remaining 4 overs, depending on how it's going to go. I do think they might go for an extra batsman instead of going with the 3, but this is as strong as you can get from the line.
When I look at it, there isn't any extra batsman with regards to picking a lineup. The only guys that will sit out if you pick this team is Aldred Hawken and Malusi Sapoto and then Haasbroek.
Yes.
So for me, it's as strong as you can get. Maybe you can think. Some people have mentioned to me that maybe Potgieter doesn't get an opportunity here, and you play Bjorn and you play on Sapamla or Hendrik. So instead of having Potgieter and having such a deep 3 all-rounders, maybe playing Bjorn Fortuin in that position, maybe at 8 and then move everybody up. That's also another option that some people may look at. But I like all 3 in the team, me personally.
But if you consider a player like Haasbroek, I'm not too sure Luba will come through for me there. He's more of an all-rounder, but he's a spinning all-rounder, so he bowls some off spin because you've got 2 left spinners there in Hendricks and Pangiso. So he might come in. I think he can bat between 4, 5, and 6, I would assume, or maybe even at 7 and shift everyone up. But the other thing is that don't be surprised. Oh, Luba says 5, but don't be surprised if Pretorius bats higher than all Potgieter and Mulder, like he did for the
I also think so.
for the Paul Rocks. So Luba, what do you think? I'm happy. I'm excited.
Lubo?
Well, we're playing in Durban as was just so. I don't think you need so many quicks. I don't think you need Magala, Rabada, and Hendricks, all three of them. For me, I feel like you need 2 out of the 3 because you already have Mulder, you have Potgieter, you have Pretorius. Those are your guys that are going to offer some sim options in the middle overs. And you know how the Lions do. Pangiso and Bjorn in white ball cricket, I can guarantee you the 2 of them are always going to start. But I also felt the Lions are perhaps a bat short. Most of the sides actually are a batsman short. But then again, as Mpo said, this is Mulder to show that he can actually hold that number 5 spot in white ball cricket. But for me, what I'd do is I'd swap Pretorius and Potgieter because I rate Delano's probably the number 7 currently in our cricket, in white ball cricket. The way he goes about his business. I know every now and then he sort of makes that mistake of short selection, but he rotates strikes and he's just a piece of bat that keeps things going. With regards to Ruan Hasbrook, I think if they want to go for that right arm finger spinner, they would probably play him at 5 because in the scorecards that I've seen, he bats normally 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And then he offers that spinning option, that off spin. But I don't think that's an option that they're going to look into early in the tournament. It'll probably as the tournament goes by.
Yeah, not with this batting lineup, no ways. I'm gonna give it over to Abai. Abai, there might be a guy here that you might say that is missing out, unfortunately, on the squad selection that never got into the bubble. That's not in this particular team. Is there anybody that you think of right now that you maybe think missed out of the squad? Maybe.
You know, if I were to go back to what Mpo said about Mulder. I believe he did open in the MSL for the Shawnee Spartans, so he is definitely more capable of batting higher up in the order. But if I look at this 11, I'd say the Lions are like the Mumbai Indians of this CSA T20 Challenge. Like, even their bench strength is it's unmatched.
Can you kiss some post buttocks anymore? Huh? Anyway, I want to ask you about maybe one of your favorite guys. You know, I know he's more of a long format player, but a guy like Dom Hendricks, do you maybe think he missed out on the squad, or maybe don't see him as a T20 player?
Well, I'm not really a fan of pigeonholing players into one format. Like, player X is good for Test cricket, or player Y is good for T20 cricket, and so on. I think he's definitely more than capable of being a good T20 player. I mean, he's more of an anchor type player, but then again, that role can be very important, especially when you're losing a lot of wickets on the other end.
Okay, guys, so let's move on to the next team. I think one of the underdogs in the tournament, because of their long batting lineup, as Werner has said, it's the Dolphins.
Oh, yes.
So we've got Evier, Rulofsson, because I think he's going to be the keeper. I think he can keep ahead of Mosegli in this particular match because, I mean, with regards to the transformation and things like that, I think they can leave him out. But Mosegli is more of a lower order batsman. But with the lower order batters that they have over here, they've got Peterson middle order, Miller, then Zondo. The Swart is here, Pechlekwai is here, Freiling is here, similarly to the Lions having that all-rounders in that middle spots. Then you come with Maharaj, who can bat a bit and spin. Then you've got Sobrain that can spin. And then you have Mutasami that could possibly come in there as well. But he's more similar to Maharaj when it comes to spinning the ball. Sobrain and then Bosch, a long batting lineup. Then on the bench, you still have Darren de Pavlian, Kerwin Mongru. You've got Utnil Bartman. And then you have Mangaliso Mosegli. The only guy that I feel hard done by in this particular team and squad is Marcus Ackerman.
Yeah.
I don't understand how he's not in this particular squad. I don't know if he's getting an injury or not. But I mean, after he had a decent MSL tournament, I'm quite shocked that he's actually left out here. where Peterson got selected, and Peterson, I feel, is more. I know I don't want to pigeonhole people, but he's become known to be more of a longer format cricketer. But I would love to see what he can do in the shorter format as well, because I mean, guys that got picked up in the MSL draft should get the bump before the rest. And like we can talk about it later in some of the other another team that I want to talk about. Is another guy that I felt was snubbed and hard done by. Lubabala, I'm going to start with you with this one. The Dolphins. Are you happy with this lineup? Who do you feel was unlucky to miss out? By the way, before you get going, Lubo, I also think Wesley Marshall very unlucky as well to miss out on the T20 squad for the Lions. But I mean, with that batting lineup, it's very, very difficult. Sorry, Lubo, you can go on with the Dolphins.
For me, with the Dolphins, Peterson's going to sit out for Muthusami.
Yes.
You can never have too many spinners in T20 cricket. I can promise you that. You can go in with 5 if you want. It's fine.
Especially in
the less of the pace, the better the things are going to best into. So for me, Muthusami is going to come in for Peterson. Grant is going to start. No debates there. I don't think Ruan Jiswat's going to start. It's going to be a tough one in terms of the requirements. Because if you can see the team here that Werner has given us, it doesn't comply. So it looks strong, but then he's not gonna have a choice but to either drop Ethan Bosch or he's gonna have to drop Ruan. But for me, I'm dropping the both of them. I have Kaya Zondo batting at 5 and Andile Pekwayo batting at 6. Robbie batting at 7. Cash is gonna bat 8, and then Subrayan is gonna bat 9. And then I bring in to Pavilion and Kerwin Mangru.
That's a good idea. Because Kerwin Mangru, I don't know if you guys know out there in the fan base, but Kerwin Mangru counts as a Black African player. So he's registered as a Black African player. Yeah. So that's why we can bring Kerwin Mangru in here and it will fit and comply. What is your thoughts about this?
You know, I'm mildly offended you didn't start with the Dolphins fan out of this group. But let's see. So, Ervia, Rulofsson, definitely Rulofsson's going to be a sure starter. I'm not completely sure about Keegan Peterson. As Luba was explaining, I was looking at his stats. Strike rate of around 100. So I don't think he's going to start in the very first game. Like Luba said, I think Sen Muthusami is going to get a game, and it's definitely handy to have more all-rounders in your team who can offer bowling options. So you can't go wrong with that. I think otherwise I can't really disagree with any of the rest of the playing 11.
Luba, you wanted to add something before I spoke? I think I'm not sure.
No, I wanted to say Ethan is missing out for me to Pavilion only based on the experience and the fact that to Pavilion brings in that extra pace that seems to be lacking in the side as well. Because if you look at the Lions, if you have Sisana and KG, you have the pace, you have Tilano, you have Vian Mulder, and you have Pretorius. You also have a bit of change up, and then the spinners as well.
So yeah, I forgot to actually add the squad to the team. Yeah, you want to give it a go? Yeah. What are your thoughts? Are you happy with Werner's side? Or are you not happy with Werner's side?
I'd make the similar changes to what Luba did. Sen comes in because the thing for the Dolphins, and this is their identity, is spin. They kill teams by stopping the game, and so you need to have that option to bowl Sen for that extra 2 or even 3 overs. And I like the whole Kerwin Mangru situation because Kerwin is gonna probably works well on those pitches like he did with the Paul Rocks in Paul bowling that he wasn't express pace, but he bowled wicket to wicket and he just knew how to stop the game on his end. So I think that's going to be very important. I'd like to see if Ruan Deswat gets a game. But I'm with Luba there. I don't think he will start. I think David Miller's supposed to leave somewhere along the line. I don't know when. To go play in Pakistan. So that presents an opportunity for Ruwan Deswat to come into the side. Possibly moving Kai Zondo to 4 and him coming in at 5. But yeah, this is a sneaky good side. This is a team that could bamboozle you just because there's such a good bowling lineup with the spin attack that they have in Maharaj, Subrayan, and Mutusami.
I'm looking forward to Lions versus Dolphins. That is for sure. Hopefully, some banter between Bo and I.
Maharaj for 3. Maharaj for 3. Let's bet Maharaj at 3. So let's move on. Let's move on. Let's go on to the next team, the big guns that brought all their money out to play, and that is the Titans. So now the Titans, interesting one. Quite a few Cobras. Yes, quite a few Cobras, but also quite a few Colfax or guys that have come from overseas that have signed over here or big money signings. Carl Abbott's missing though in this particular squad, which is a big thing that that's missing out here. But other than that, you've got both guys in your side. I feel at first, before the whole news broke about Quinton de Kock and about the whole mental health issues and with Faf missing out, initially I was like, damn, you shouldn't have bought Chris Morris and you shouldn't have bought Simon Armour, or maybe not Simon Armour, because I feel that those guys you have to play now that you spent big money on them. So it's kind of leaving out guys like Faf because you don't have the extra option to play an extra white player now because now you've bought 2 white players to your team. So that was my initial thought process behind it. But when the news came out that they're not going to play, when the news out about the mental health issues that Quinton was facing, I could more or less see why they did what they did in a way. I would have liked to have then at that point seen maybe Faf loaned out to one of the other franchises and then Quinton get loaned out to one of the other franchises. Seeing that everybody's playing in Durban, it doesn't really matter if they're playing for another team, loaned out for that particular series to get some experience to other young guys. The Warriors, I feel, lack some experience, and someone maybe like the Cobras lack some experience. So I think those 2 guys, maybe even in the Knights, they could have moved to. That would have been an awesome option. But let's get to Werner's side. I'm going to go with a buy first this time up. Because you never got to go first when your favorite team was picked. I didn't actually know that you support the Dolphins, to be honest. You never actually told me that, but that's okay. We've got the Titans. You got the Titans over here. We've got Markram, Henry Davids, De Bruyne. I keep on saying De Bruyne. It's De Bruyne. I'm thinking of Kevin on my brain all the time. Klaassen, Alk, Makanya, Halim. Interesting. Williams, Dala, Ngidi, and Shamsi. He says he would love to see Williams play. I'm going to look at the guys that maybe missed out from this particular team that he hasn't mentioned over here. I would say that Grant Thompson is missing. I would say that Chris Morris, he's played. Chris Morris, he hasn't.
Yeah, and Simon Harmer.
And Simon Harmer is left out. Wow, massive. I don't see Sibana. Okay, Makania's there. Ukulit Khele is not there. And Junior Dala's there. Yes, you got Ndala. Yeah, no, I'm just reading the guys that he's missing out.
Oh, okay.
So that people know. And then Gregory, obviously. The ambidextrous spinner.
Ambidextrous, yeah.
Yeah, ambidextrous spinner. So excellent. Okay, so I'm surprised that he left off the Colpack guys. That's interesting. But where do you fit them in necessarily? You could. I think you could. 1, 2. You could fit them in. But he didn't.
There's room for one though. You can have.
Go ahead.
You can have Chris. There's room for one of them.
Maybe Chris Morris for Algo.
That's what I was going to say. Or maybe Simon Harmer.
Sorry, Abai, it was your turn to talk to. Yeah, I'm stealing your spotlight.
Just right off the bat, when I was looking at this team, I was like, Algo at number 5. If he's going to play, you got to bat him at the top of the order. So you could switch him out and play another all-rounder. So maybe Chris Morris, Simon Harmer, depending on where they're gonna play. So if they're gonna play at Durban, maybe bring in the extra spinner. I'd love to see Pele get game time. I think you could probably come in for maybe Dala or Ngidi later in the tournament. Could rotate the fast bowlers from time to time. Other than that, I don't see too many surprises on this team, and I think they're going to be a very strong side.
Yeah, I mean, people will generally say on paper that this is the Lions' biggest rivals. I mean, the Jessica Derby is obviously always going to be a massive thing. And the two teams always like a good clash. And Paul, on your enemies over here, maybe they'll give you a run for your money. What do you say?
So the Titans are interesting. They will give the Lions a run for their money, especially if they find a way to get Harmer in the side. My 11 was Henry Davids. I'm stuck between. I don't want to bench Dean Alga. I think he's going to be very important for this Titan side. So in Dean Alga at 2, Aiden Markram at 3, Heinrich Clausen at 4, Spanelo Makanya at 5, with Morris at 6, Dan Khalim at 7, Simon Harmer at 8, Ngiti, Dala, and Shamsi to close off my fast bowling side. I think that's a team that could do quite a lot of damage, especially with Alga's ability to bowl that left hand spin as well. From a batting perspective, they do seem a bit light. I think you'll see with these teams. These teams have a few explosive players here and there, which is why I wanted to pretty much put a Henry Davids up front with the Dean Alga, because he can be quite explosive on these pitches. I want Spanelo Makanya to bat at 5. That's one thing I want, and so that's going to be very important for me from this Titan side.
Let's just move to Lububalo quickly and get your thoughts on the squad, Lububalo.
For me, the Titans are one of the sides that picked. They were picked a bit smartly, because I think they're one of the few sides that have an extra batsman. So even with the lineup that they're going to have, they will probably have one batsman sitting on the sidelines. Like the Knights, I think the Knights are going to have 2 batsmen. But my side for the Titans, I have Henry Davids, Aiden Markram. I have Dean Elgar at 3, Henrik Clausen 4, Sibs at 5, Chris Morris at 6, Khalim at 7, Lungi at 8, Dala at 9, Mashokwana at 10, and Shamsi at 11. Doesn't really matter how they bat from 8 to 11; they can shop them around. I rate Simon Harmer, but I just don't believe he's a really great T20 spinner, which is why I left him out and went for Mashokwana at 10.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy that they spend if they don't play him, mate, because they spent a lot of money on him, and I don't know if it's only for those 2 games in the 4-day competition, but it's going to be crazy if they don't play.
But even if you look at it in the 4-day competition, they've got Shamsi, who's done an incredible job with the red ball. He went to Cape Town and he took the Cobras to the cleaners.
It was embarrassing.
Yeah, and that's something I think we need to talk about is the fact that younger players are not getting the opportunities. Like Tando Ntini is the glaring omission from the side.
100%.
And there's nothing that you can do about it. We speak about Wesley Marshall. We speak about Dom Hendricks. Had the Proteas been on tour somewhere else, or had Australia been coming, those guys would have gotten an opportunity. And even the guys on the bench, like Ogusekele benching, now, yes, it's great that he's in the squad, but I think South Africans would love to see how Ogusekele can come out and bowl. He's a really, really great bowler, but we need that. I think those guys need that opportunity, and that's what I think the Lions were having a problem with over the weekend, is that guys didn't know whether they were going to be playing with the strikers or they were going to be playing with the guys in Durban. But it is what it is, and it creates for at least a healthy competition for Graham, Mark, and Victor to pick a World Cup potentials on the side for those final spots.
Yeah, I mean, Abai wants to run off again. Typical guy here wants to run off after he sees his team. Then he wants to go run off. I see already what you like, Abai. No, I'm joking. You want to say your final statements before you go, Abai?
Well, I'd have loved to cover the next 3 teams, but I think based on what I've seen, I think it's going to be very, very eye-catching competition. Mildly disappointed that it may or may not be at the ideal time for when it comes to watching, but there's always a chance to catch the highlights. So for those of you following, I'll be doing the regular wraps every few days. So yeah, looking forward to an exciting tournament, and thanks for having me on.
No problem, Abba. Thanks a lot for coming on and talking to us about your favorite team and about the others too and weighing in on that. We're looking forward to see your raps, your player moment raps of some of the games. I think we'll alternate it between me and you, and I'll maybe ask Mark to maybe also help out as well. Yes, it doesn't know this yet, so he doesn't know this yet, so I'm giving him work before he even got to work. So I'll have to go speak
We all
to him
love a
first.
good surprise.
Thank you, Abba. We'll see you soon.
All right, have a good chat, guys.
Cool, awesome. Okay, Luba, it's just the three of us. So let's do it now. What do you think? What do you think of the titles? You want to add to the titles?
Yeah, I just want to add to what Mpo said. I was also surprised not to see Tando Ndini, even in the 50 over tournament. I expected him to start, but I understood because they went for the more experienced guys. But there's one bowler that I'm really surprised not to see in the Titan side, the left arm seamer or Kwesi Kumete. He's from KZN.
Yes.
He did well in the T20 provincial thingy. I think that's one of the reasons why the Titans signed him. It's because of how he performed. He's a really good T20 bowler, and I think he would have added a bit of variation to the seamer tech of the Titans there.
You know what? I also want to add. Limpopo falls under this brand, don't they? Under
It does, yes.
the
Yes.
Titans. I was very surprised that Lerato Gotle didn't get an opportunity.
He's with Western Province.
Is he with Eastern Province currently?
No, he left. He's with Western Province. He missed out with the Cobras as well.
Oh, did he miss out with the Cobras as well? So, I didn't actually know that he moved over to the Cobras. That's very interesting, because my thing is, it's very seldom that you'll see a T20 Player of the Year miss out on a T20 tournament. It's surprising. I thought that was quite surprising. And I saw his status actually, where he said we showed the trophy because he won Cricket South Africa Provincial T20 Player of the Year, Cricketer of the Year in 2020, and he actually said the only guy to win this award and never get featured for franchise T20 cricket. So it's actually a massive omittance, I feel. Maybe they could have loaned him out if he wasn't going to play.
I did a thread on him on Twitter. You can check it out. Posted some of his shots there. He really looks a good T20 batsman. I was also keen to see him get to play with the big dogs and display his batting prowess in this T20 tournament, but he missed out. He was involved in the internal game that the Cobras had. I think he scored 20 or 21. I just don't know of how many balls, but he still missed out. So I think another thing, I think we're gonna get there when we talk about Cobras. I think I know why he missed out. Yeah, but we will just get there.
Oh no, then I didn't know he was part of the Cobras. I mean, the Cobras are also a very competitive side as well. A lot of Proteas as well in the side. He's very unlucky for some. I actually didn't think that he was with the Cobras, but that whole thought process of loaning the guys out to other franchises, man, I think that would have been a good opportunity.
But where do you fit guys in? If you look at all these sides, there's not like. Yes, you can say some sides don't have much, but even if you look at like a side like the Knights and the Warriors, who you might think might get some players, they're actually pretty strong squads. It's and that's why the franchise system needs to be expanded. But then this whole top bottom situation, I don't agree with, because it's the same thing. But it's the same thing that gets Lerato omitted, is because someone thought that the level of the quality of cricket he was playing against wasn't good enough to play in franchise cricket, even though he shone at that level. And that's what I disagree with the whole have an A side and have a B section, because it might just be prejudicial to those playing in the B section.
Maybe in the 4-day competition and the 1-day competition, yes. But I think in the T20 competition, when they're going to have, they're obviously going to have the MSL with 8 franchises, right? Which is still going to get guys from the lower leagues to be up and maybe get an opportunities from the other leagues, right? But the one that excites me the most is that Knockout Cup, because that's going to give teams from the lower leagues to be able to showcase their talent against the top teams. And that's going to be exciting because if they put on a show there and make a statement, it might mean a big franchise move in the next season, big province move in the next season or something.
And more
so I'm
content
really excited.
for us.
And more content for us, of course, yes. So let's move on to those guys we are talking about, and that is the Cobra side. Find them over here. Boom, squad. Great squad, I think, as well. Very balanced squad, I think, as well. Just similarly to everybody, but very young. So we got Tony Dezorzi as the captain of this side. They've given Zubair Hamza a rest, which I think was a good move because I think he needs to focus on his batting right now, maybe, without the pressures of captaincy, and really go out there and try to bat. I hope he gets selected in the side because I strongly believe that he can play the T20 game. I think he can adapt his game well enough. I think he was very gutted when he didn't get an opportunity to play in the MSL. He really wanted to be a part of the MSL. When I had an interview with him and we spoke about it, he mentioned that to me. But unfortunately, that's sometimes how things work. But I think this is an opportunity for him to show what he is capable of in the shorter formats, because I think he's a very good 50-over player. I know he didn't get an opportunity to show it this season. He struggled this season a lot. But he is a very good all-format player, and I really want to see him get an opportunity in the T20 setup. So, guys, memorize the squads out there. All the guys in the comment section, memorize the squads so that you have them available to you, so that we can go into Werner's squad and then compare it. He hasn't done all of the sides. I don't think he's done the Warriors. So, we'll have to go and do that by ourselves.
We'll recreate it
guys.
ourselves.
Yeah, we'll create it ourselves. So let's go to the Cobras, and that is here on the screen. Let me get rid of the squad. Yes, I'm all over the show tonight. Okay, so we've got Malan over here, Yanaman, Dezorzi, Zubair Hamza, Carl Verreynne, Jason Smith, Jonker. We've got Linda, Abrams, Moreki, Berger, Nyako in Jonker, if the balance is right. But he missed that 5, so he said he put and Yako maybe 5 or 7, 6 or 7, wherever. So you'll move them around accordingly. So I think maybe you move Smith up, Jonker up, or you switch Jonker and Smith, and then you put Nyako maybe at 8, so that you got the balance all right over there. So he apologized for the mistake. I'm going to start here quickly. I like it. I think the only guys that are really missing out maybe that you can say is Chepo Moreke for experience. He's in this team. He's picked him. Sayada Abrams, he's picked. You can look at Imran Manak maybe as an extra spinner. That's another option that's maybe missing out. I think Siyabonga Mahima as well. I think as a spinner as well. I think that is an awesome option to throw in here. He's had a great One-Day Cup campaign. A very good bowler. We've got over here Jason Smith is over here, of course. And why did I made a mistake on the squad. I put Twele in this team. Instead of Nyako. I think when I copied over, I copied wrong.
I think you put Onke there as well, but it's fine. We got you.
Is it? Oh, you know why? Because I know why. I copied I copied over the column from the Titans, and then I forgot to delete Twele's name here. So sorry, apologies for that, guys. But we've got Calvin Savage is maybe missing out in this particular team. You could say maybe Corbin Bosch. Other than that, people want to know about Hanabe. He's a young keeper, very talented keeper. Very, very good story that I'm going to try to get into his story and his background. I'm going to give you some exclusive content of him soon, hopefully, God willing, inshallah, for the Muslim guys out there. So what is your thought process on this particular squad over here, Paul? Let's start with you this time.
Look, strong batting lineup. I think you can have a strong top 5 if you put Christian Jonker in there. He's a former Protea. He played for the Proteas for a couple of T20s as well. I like Jason Smith coming back. I think he is also gonna have to put his hand up for selection. I know there's so many all-rounders here, which is fascinating. Onke Nyako makes this team just because I think he's deserved his place, and in the MSL he played really well as well. Also missing a second spinner, so you're probably going to have to. I would drop Ziad Abrams and bring in Imran Manak as your second spinner, and then so I'd go with Nandre as your left arm option. Tebo Marek is a very good bowler, but to me it's probably and then you have Imran Manak as your spinner supporting George Linder. Or look, I'd like to see Imran Manak because I think he's a right arm offie, and so I think he adds a little bit more difference to what we to South Africa, who's just producing. Seemingly, we produce left arm orthodox for days, but they can cause an upset. I still think you're missing the big name. Well, the big name Proteas are here, but it's for the next World Cup. So if you're looking for guys to look for in terms of going to the 2023 World Cup in the ODIs or the next T20 World Cup, some of the names here, Verena Dzozi, Yanaman Malan, could be putting their hands up. Zubair Hamza as a Protea. It's not as exciting as the other teams that we've covered, but they can cause an upset, which is something that is quite exciting.
Very exciting for me. I'm very excited about this team. Of course I am, because there's a lot of youngsters and a lot of guys that are looking to obviously make a name for themselves in this particular tournament. So that's why I'm really excited about this one. Lubabalo, your thought process on this one, particular side?
Surprised not to see Big Jono Bird. Would have picked him himself, to be honest. Yeah. He also has that spinning option. I think in our country there's still this lack of trust in spinners, to be honest. You look at some of the squads and you can see that some of the squads are spinner short, to be honest. You're going to be playing in Durban. You probably will be using the same strips every now and then. So spinners are definitely, even though in T20 cricket it's not going to matter much, but a used strip will always be a used strip, especially in Durban. So spinners are always going to come into play. But for me, the side that I picked for the Cobras, I also feel the Cobras are a batsman shot, by the way. But I haven't seen Hanabi play because I think he's the reason Lerato couldn't make the Cobras side. I think the thinking behind that was that let's try and have a reserve keeper just in case for a rainy day. Let's say Kyle gets injured or something, and so I think they decided to go in for a reserve keeper. But my side would be, because I think the top 7 picks itself, it just depends on how you arrange them, who you want to bat where. For me, it's Yanaman and Tony opening the batting, Zubi coming in at 3. I have Kyle coming in at 4, Jason Smith coming in at 5, Christian Jonker coming in at 6. I have George Linder at 7. I have Onke Nyaku at 8, even though I'd prefer having him at 7 and George at 8. It doesn't really matter. It depends on match situation. I have Nandre Berger and I have Ziad Abrams and Siyabonga Mahima. I have a feeling he's going to be troublesome for a lot of the batsmen in the side. In this tournament, he's an attacking spinner. He's not like most left-arm spinners that we have. If you look at guys like Aaron Pangiso, Bjorn Fontaine, they're not really attacking left-arm spinners. They're just guys who put pressure on you. They're very smart bowlers, but you look at how Siam bowls, he really attacks and he gets the ball to spin as well, which is what spinners are supposed to do anyway.
Okay, let's move on. Let's go on to the Warriors. I know that they haven't selected it, so we're just going to have to talk to from the squad itself. Okay, let's go here. Okay, so we've got Sinetembe Kashile as captain. We've got Gian Kluti back into the mix again. Marco Mare, Vian Libber, John Smith, Marco Jansen, Lesibo Ngope. We've got Lizo Makosi. We've got Tristan Stubbs, which is an excellent young talent that we're very excited to see. T. Nabe, we've got Andrich Nokia, we've got Kamani, we've got Clinton Steelman, Jay de Klerk, Chepo Ntuli, and Stefan Tate. Now, there might be a couple of names here that we're not very familiar with, guys, that you guys might not be very familiar with. I know the guys on the panel are very familiar with the most majority of these two guys over here on the screen, but I think the guys in the panel in the comment section might not be familiar with a lot of these guys because they maybe haven't seen them internationally or seen enough of them. But I think this is a very, very interesting side. We feel that on their day they can be extremely dangerous. I'm very surprised that someone like Matthew Brzezinski hasn't been selected in this particular side as a batsman. Rudy Second is also a guy that's missing out maybe. I think that it's particularly Matthew. I know he had an injury, but I don't know if he's back from that injury, if he's feeling better. I'll have to have a chat with him and check and ask him if I'm allowed to release that information. Actually, if I do chat to him, I don't want to get anybody into trouble. But if he is if he was available or not, I'm not 100% sure. We need to find out. But I'm missing him in this particular squad out of everybody that I'm looking at over here. Guys, let's get into it. I think the guys in the comment section might want to get involved. Oh, here's Werner. Here's Werner's side, so we can maybe talk about it because at least we have something as a reference on the screen. So let me just get rid of this. I have to scroll, and this thing is so slow at the moment. I don't know why. Sometimes StreamYard is just extra slow when I'm streaming for long hours like this, guys. So let's get into Werner's squad over here, or side over here. This is what he has for the Warriors. He's got Kluti, Smuts, Lubbe, Ngope, Mare, Pashele, Nabe, Jansen, Stierman, Nokia, and Stephen Tate. I know Lubbe put on some videos of Stubbs. Looks good. Let's start with Lubbe Balo with this one, because, I mean, this is your team, eh, Lubbe?
Not really, but yeah. Just before I start, for some of the guys that don't know some of the players, they can check my Twitter. They can go through my timeline. I have Tristan Stubbs put up. I have Lizo Makosi put up. I have who else do I have? I also have Lira put up, even though he's not in one of the squads. I struggled to find the other guys, but I have a few videos to give you an idea of who these players are and how they play. Lizo Makosi is a mini Tabrais Shamsi. He bowls Chinaman as well. The side that I picked for me is I have Klute and Smart opening the bowling. I have Vian batting at 3. I have the captain Ash coming in at 4. I have a surprise selection in Stubbs coming in at 5, really play of spin. SA Schools 2018. Coke Week leading run scorer as well in 2018. The kid can play. He's a really good batsman. He's also a keeper, by the way, so he's a wicket keeper batsman. And then at 6, I have Marco Mare. At 7, I have Lesiba Ngwepe. And then I have Jade at 8. I have Anna at 9. I have Glenton at 10. I have 11. I have Nabe at 11. But one thing I can tell you about this side is that they're not short of spin bowling options. You look at JJ, give you overs. You look at Vian, again, overs. You look at Ngwepe, can also give you overs. So they're not going to struggle for extra bowling options whenever one of their bowlers is going for a run.
Luba, who are you opening with?
Over here, though.
Who are you opening with, Luba?
I'm opening with Klute and Smart.
Oh, okay.
JJ.
So we're on the same page. Okay, we're on the same page.
I would have opened with Matt Pritzker, though.
Yes, I think everybody would have, and that's the other omission that I don't know, is he injured? But yeah, I like this side. When I look at the squads, I think this is the side that could, if there was a winner outside of the other 4, outside of the other 3, because I think the Dolphins, the Lions, and the Titans are a notch above everybody else. If you had to look at the 3 teams that we were looking at now, I think the Warriors have it in them, and largely because of their ability to have a guy like John who can help them with the bowling, and Vian Libber with the spin bowling, as you said, and then so you can have Jade de Klerk, but also have that cover from a seamer perspective. Yeah, look, I can't fight Luba's team. I look here at Werner's one. Tesh needs to bat at 4. Mwepe possibly at 7, maybe. Yes, then obviously Marco Janssen coming in probably higher up. I know Luba's got Tristan Stubbs in there. But I would swap Tesh and Mwepe in this in Werner's 11. Then you go De Klerk, Janssen, Stierman, Nokia, and Nabe. So I'd go with that bowling attack. I'd take out who would I take out? I take out Marco Janssen for Jay de Klerk. You just need another spinner, and you've got John. You've got So I think from a seeming perspective, there might be a little bit. No, they wouldn't be short. Yeah, that works with me. So
and I
Janssen
think also
out,
Werner missed the targets as well. So Jay de Klerk is perfect to balance that out. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. We've got over here the Knights. I'm going to show you the team first and foremost, like we have been doing. Wait, I need to first release the comment. Now I have to find the comment all the way down here. First and foremost. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, guys, for all the comments. I'm not complaining. We do have a caller waiting for us in the back end, and we're going to get him after we talk about the night side, that he can give his whole summary of what he thinks he's going to get into this particular tournament. Abai told us on the very last minute that his friend is coming on. So luckily we've got a caller on the show where I'm very excited about, because I like to get new callers onto the show. Let's get the team on the screen for the Knights. Another, I think all of these teams are quite competitive, I guess, but we've got Piet van Bouillon for you, Jacques Snyman, Reinhard van Tonde, which was an interesting one for me to be picked. I love Reinhard, and I want to see him in the shorter formats. He can murder a ball. Matthew Kleinveld and Jonathan Van Dier. It's interesting if people are going to pick him in their sides. Grant Mokoena, Fahan Beardin, big name. Alfred Matoa. We've got Andries Gous. We've got Patrick Kruger, Wandile Makwetu. Budaza was a very good, I feel a very talented, not talented, but a very good bowler in the white ball format. We've got Gerald Coetzee, Sean van Berg, Federico Adams, and Michael Pretorius. Now let's go back to, I want you guys to all memorize it. The guys in the comment section that haven't seen these teams yet, you can memorize it quickly before we go back. Let's get into the team that Mr. Werner put up for us in the comment section. I'm very excited about Gerald, man. I want to see Gerald again because he lit up the MSL. That boy was quick in the MSL. So I'm really excited to actually see him and whether Werner actually picked him in the side. So we've got these pick with Snyman, Van Dier, Kruger, Van Bouillon, Beardin, Mare, Makwetu, Pretorius or Van Berg, and then Adams, Matoa, and Coetzee. So he does have Coetzee on the side. Let me just check if he's got everything sorted out here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's got the transformation targets, but he doesn't meet the Black African requirements of 3 Black African players. So you'll probably have to swap one of the colored players, I think, for a Black African player. That's the only one I can see that must be changed over there. I don't know if you guys know that there is a transformation targets on Black African players, so you have to have 3, and then you can fill up the rest with players from other ethnicities. So, guys, from your perspective, what do you think about this particular team? Let's first sort out the transformation targets. Who would you bring in?
Yeah. Budaza.
Cool. Awesome.
Yes,
and for
Gerald cannot bet at 11, man. Dang, that's too low. Who's that number 6? Who's that guy at number 6?
Yeah.
Oh, Marco Murray. So he needs to come out. So
Marco Murray.
Yeah, it was a mistake. So he says to somehow put him in there. So Makwetu bats at 6, I would say. And then you would have Pretorius at 7, and then you can bring in Budaza at the back end.
No, you have Gerald at 7, and then you have Sean at 8. Then you bring in Budaza at 11.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
But
Yeah, so I don't know.
Um,
I can't believe I actually read it out. You can see I'm very tired.
That's okay. So, but if you look
Thanks,
at the
guys.
side, if you look at the side, right, Jonathan Van Dier presents a very interesting opportunity for the Knights because he is a very explosive batsman at the top.
Yeah.
And if you pair him up with Sneeman, it's go big or go home with those two, which is something that comes in really, really nicely. I'd like to see Reynard get a
You know
couple
what?
of games.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
thought he meant? I think he meant Andries Gous over there at number 6.
Yes. I actually don't have Andries Gous.
Yeah, but I
So
think that's
mine,
what you meant, maybe.
yeah. Yeah. So I have Sneeman Van Dier, Patrick Kruger, Pite at 4, Fudgy at 5, Makwetu at 6, Mikhail at 7, and then you can put Gerald at 8 there, and then it's okay. I'm also off. I need 'cause I've got Farisco. I've got Farisco Adams. I've got Van Bergen. I've got Budaza. So Farisco is going to be the tough one. I don't want to leave him out, but he's probably going to have to come out for Alfred Motwa there, unless if I want to bring in Grant Mokwena somewhere in the top.
Nice man has to miss out there.
Yeah, but Patrick Kruger is also an interesting player that I want to see. I think he's got some, but yeah, but looking at this night's squad, it's Sean van Berg is going into the twilight of his cricketing career. I'm not saying it's going to end, but this is the moment where it's like last chance saloon for him to make it into the Protea side. And so if he can bowl out of his skin, he can be the guy who can come in and necessarily replace Imran Tahir as the leg spinner. But looking at the side, they have a very strong batting lineup, as the Knights always do. And then you've got guys like Budaza, Alfred Motwa, Frisco Adams, who can do things. And then obviously we want to see Gerald Kutsia. I'm sure Alan Donald's going to find a way to get him in there. And Mikhail Pretorius as well, who's someone who started the season quite well. I want to see Makwetu in this tournament. That's why I put him in there. I think we're gonna have to. They're gonna have a lot of headaches trying to balance the side out, especially with the batting cover of
I think that's
and Andries Gous.
That's what I wanted to speak about, is that the balance is going to be very difficult in this particular side. But they're going to struggle to do that. But I think it's going to be a very competitive competition. I'm really excited to cover it. Really excited to see this. I'm more excited, though, for the semi-pro competition, because SA Under 19 is going to participate in that one. So I'm really excited to see that. That's going to be excellent for the SA Under 19s to be able to play basically semi-pro cricket at such a young age soon. So I'm very excited to see that. We're going to be doing an awesome interview with the Cubs Week champions, the 5 guys that got selected, or the 4 guys that got selected for the SA Under 19 team from the Cobras Cubs Week winners. We're going to be chatting to them on Monday. So I'm hoping that you guys tune in for that. Final thoughts from the guys. Let's go with Lubo and then with Mpo, and then we can say bye to the fans.
Well, looking forward to seeing the tournament. But I have a few players that I'm also looking forward to seeing. Mostly the youngsters. Just want to see. I'm hoping Gerald can bat 7 for the Knights, and that his body can carry him throughout the tournament. And hoping that the tournament will not be decided by rain like the other tournament that we had, that was decided by rain.
In Durban, man. That's like the worst place this time of the year. We must actually check the weather.
But it's got the pitches we need. But I was actually thinking about maybe they should have actually thought of moving it to the Eastern Cape, maybe PE or East London. But I think from a bubble perspective, they needed a larger city to be able to host the 6 teams. But yeah, I thought based on the rainy weather that they should have moved it at least further up the coast or down the coast.
Come on, guys, man. Play in the rain. We want to see you slide there on the boundary in the mud.
No. But look, but the other thing is, this is the closest conditions you probably get. It's not going to be subcontinental conditions, but this is the closest conditions you will get to the flatter pitches of India, and so I from a thinking perspective, I'm thinking that maybe someone at CSA was like, look, let's give them this so they can actually. You kind of have to force the team that wins this tournament is the team that's going to use their spinners the most. And so I think for me, that's something that I want to see, because you need to move into a world, and this is if I was South African coach, my brand of cricket would always be try figure out a way to get your spinners involved, especially away from home or even at home, because they present a very interesting prospect, especially wrist spinners. And that's why I'm excited to see Shamsi. I want to see Sean van Berg. I want to see Makosi bowl. I think he's going to present something that we've seen with Shamsi, but wrist spinners in this format are really great. And from a batting perspective, guys need to put their hands up. As Graham said, it's time for people to put their hands up, and you've got Proteas, you've got guys who are on the cusp of Proteas, you've got red ball Proteas, you've got white ball Proteas. So guys need to put their hands up and push the door down. If I was Yanaman, I'd try and silence all the haters. So too with Riza. Try and make sure that that when they leave you out the World Cup squad, it must hurt them, and that they could be missing out on something else. But it's going to be some great cricket. Yes, the rain's the rain. You can't pray for rain. But I really like this whole shortened format. Everyone plays everyone once. It gives it that urgency, because if you lose your first two games, you're effectively out of this tournament. And it's going to be interesting to see how squads adjust throughout the tournament as well. So for instance, if you lose, because the funny thing is, I was thinking about it right now, if you win your first two games, but you lose your third game, your first two games could have given you the semblance that your balance was right. But on your third game, when you've lost, you might have to. It might be too late for you to tinker to be able to carry your team to the last two games. So it's going to be very fascinating to see how they use all of this. And for instance, the Lions are making Björn Hendricks and Lutu Sapamla water boys, which is a wild concept to think about. But it's what it is, and so too are the Titans. But that's what makes this one a much better CSA T20 compared to the other ones, because this is what happens when you have Proteas playing domestic cricket.
Yeah. So I'm very happy that the Proteas are in. I'm very excited to see all the Proteas players play, as well as see some of our youngsters take on the Proteas players. I want to see a guy like Ryan Rickleton take on guys like Gerald Coetzee, the younger dudes. We saw it a little bit, obviously. I think we saw it a little bit in the Mzansi Super League. But we want to see Kagiso Rabada bowl to like a Tony DeZorzi and all of those type of things. That's going to be very exciting to see. So guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all of our updates. We will be covering the tournament as much as we can, whenever we can. So please go ahead to cricketfanaticsmag.com to do so. Don't forget to go to download the latest issue of the magazine. Subscribe to that. The link is on the screen in the description. Become a patron as well. The links are in the description for that. We would love you to join the community. So become a patron today. And it's your way for you guys to show your support and for you guys to get exclusive content too. If you guys have a small business, you're looking to make sales online, even if your business is offline, we've got the links in the description and a free tutorial on this channel. So please go ahead if you want us to help you boost your business, promote your business, etc. Even if your business is a small business and even if it's offline. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you guys tomorrow again with another daily show. Stay safe. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy some of the Champions League, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care.